Alright, welcome to my Prime Fitness first cooking video. Now, before we get started, I'd like to say a little bit about the My Prime Fitness name that I came up with. I like My Prime Fitness because when you say it out loud, it becomes your Prime Fitness, and that's something that I want you to keep in mind when you're working out and when you're trying to eat, is to try to maximize the level and intensity and keep your workouts and your diet prime. Okay, so in this segment or episode, we will be making brown rice. I make it as cilantro brown rice, and this is probably the carb that I have the most frequently, and I think it's delicious. When I first started cooking a couple years ago, when I was still in college, my brown rice wasn't good at all, and I kind of had to force myself to eat it. But now I could eat a bowl of this just by itself because it's so good. And I kind of adopted some of my mom's recipes. So here we have the main ingredients. We have long grain brown rice, garlic, olive oil, cilantro. We have onion, which is not necessary, but I highly recommend it. And a very critical part of the recipe is this Knorr chicken bouillon cubes. It's just chicken flavor seasoning, and this right here is going to be probably the most important ingredient, because if not, then I wasn't using this when I was in college, and that's why my rice had little to no flavor. So those are all the ingredients, and now we'll go over to step one. Alright, step one is to pretty much add all the ingredients at once, because then after that you just let it cook and you check on it after about 25 minutes. So we're going to cook 1 cup of brown rice, so let's add that. And here I like to go ahead and turn it on medium high. So we'll get 1 cup. There we go, add that. And then for the water, depending on how big your cooking pot is, if it's a small cooking pot, use 2 cups of water. I consider this a medium, so I use about 2.5. And if you have one with a much larger area, then I would use about 3 cups. So I like to get hot water just to kind of expedite the process. This thing just heats up. Of course, the funny thing is, if you have a rice cooker, then you kind of have no need for this video, but some people don't. Plus, with the rice cooker, you can't really do or cook more advanced recipes. So there's 1 cup. Two cups, then 1/2. Alright. Then we'll go ahead and add the chicken flavor cube. Just unwrap and add that. 1 garlic clove. I like to use medium to large size. And then for the cilantro, you kind of pretty much can't put too much. So I like to just tear off a nice handful. Boom, throw that in there. Get some stuck on my fingers. For the onion, it's up to you however much you like onions. I add about maybe 1/4 of a medium-sized onion. Chop it up. You don't even have to chop it up that finely. Throw that in there. And then lastly, it's the olive oil. Now I almost always eyeball it because I'm so used to making it. But if you want a little bit less than a tablespoon, So a little bit less than a full tablespoon. Throw that in there. And then that's everything. The cube, garlic, olive oil, water, rice, onion, and cilantro. So now we can go ahead and cover it. And again, this depends on how big your cooking pot is, but you want to check it after about 20 minutes. So we'll go ahead. Oh, can't forget, since we have it on medium-high heat, as soon as it starts boiling, go ahead and bring it down to a little bit lower than medium. So we'll go ahead and check back in about 20 minutes. It's been about 25 minutes. I know that for this size pot, it usually takes over 30, but since it might be your first time doing it, I'd rather be on the safe side, which is why I said check it after about 20 minutes of starting. So here it's been about 25, 26 minutes, so let's take a look to see how the rice is doing. Alright, so it's still boiling. Most of the rice is still pretty much fully submerged, so we know it's still going to have a while. So if you check it and the rice is still fully submerged, then go ahead and check back in about 8 minutes. And then depending on how it's doing, then we'll have a better idea if we're going to need more water or if you have pretty much the perfect amount. Alright, so it's been about 10 minutes since we last checked it. Let's go ahead and take a closer look to see how it's doing. Alright, so we can see that there's still some water towards the bottom, but for the most part, this is the point at which you want to go ahead and take a spoon and just sample a little bit to see if the consistency is where you like it. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so I'd say we're pretty good here. So now all we're going to do is wait for the water to fully evaporate, which is going to be the next step. But with this recipe and the water to rice ratio that we're using, you're probably going to be on the lower side, so it's more likely that you might need water. Now I'd rather it be this way, because if you put too much water, then you can't really go back or take out any water because the damage is done. So of course, as you go through the recipe and cook it more and more times, and you're going to become more familiarized with how much water and when to check it. Like for example, I know almost exactly how much to put because I cook it like 5 times a week, and whenever I make it, I only check it like twice. I put everything in, come back, check it after about 35 to 40 minutes, taste it, it's usually good, finish it, let it cook another 5 to 10 minutes, and then turn it off. So we'll check back once it's almost fully evaporated, which will be the final step, unless of course you need more water. If you check it, if you sample a little bit and it still feels like it's undercooked, then go ahead, especially once most of the water is gone, go ahead and add about a third of a cup of water. I can't talk today. Add a third cup of water, and then go ahead and put the top back on, and then you want to check it again somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes to see if the water that you added will be sufficient, or if you're going to need more. So we'll go ahead and check this back here in about 10 minutes. Alright, so here we are at the possibly final step. It's been about 10 to 12 minutes since the last check. So let's go ahead and take a close look at it. What you want to do for the final check is put the fork all the way down till it touches the bottom, and then you want to try to move it back and forth. If you feel resistance, then the rice is pretty much completely ready. If you don't feel resistance, that means there's still some water there. So go ahead and put the top back on and let it cook. Check every like 5 minutes, but once you push it all the way down and you feel resistance, you can go ahead and turn it off, and you want to let it sit and just continue cooking with the residual heat for about another 10 minutes before you want to serve it. Now, going back to where we sampled it, when you sample it, if it's undercooked, Add water in about 1/3 cup increments. So if you added 1/3 of a cup, give it about 8 minutes. Try it again and still undercooked. Then do another 1/3 of a cup. But keep track of how often you check it and how much water you add, so that the next time you cook it, you can make those adjustments. And eventually you'll have the process down. But this rice, like I said, when cooked properly, I think it's delicious. My girlfriend loves it. My mom and family members love it. It's very versatile. With that chicken seasoning, you can turn it into a stir fry and add sriracha and soy sauce. You can add avocado and lime and chicken and eat it like chipotle. But that's pretty much it. So if you have any questions, go ahead and leave it in the comment. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you thought the video was helpful, or if you just like it, please follow the YouTube channel, but more importantly, follow the blog. There is a very hidden follow button on the very front page where you see all the blog posts. If you go to the bottom, there'll be a follow button. So thanks again for watching, and I hope you continue watching for the next episode on My Prime Fitness Cooking.